All right. President Biden taking some questions after his meeting with the GCC and the Crown Prince, MBS. Very interesting responses on oil. He said that he was asked if there was anything that happened in this meeting that was going to bring down oil prices, gas prices here in the United States. He said it looks like it will take a few weeks. And then he kind of blamed U.S. gas stations primarily, but he said he did expect that they would come down in a few weeks. He said he brought up at the very top of the meeting his concerns about human rights and the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. He said, I raised it right at the top of the meeting. I was very straightforward and direct. And he said that MBS said he really didn't have anything to do with it. And that he had punished those who did. So let's bring in our panel to respond to what we just heard from the president, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, Vice President of National Security and Foreign Policy at the Heritage Foundation, and Joe Concha, media and politics columnist for The Hill and a Fox News contributor. James, what did you think about what you just heard from the president?
That was cringeworthy. I feel like Chauncey Gardner is our president. Look, you said at the top of before that the solution to America's energy is in the United States. And we've heard nothing about American energy production. So anything over there is it's just nonsense. And the key to peace in the Middle East is dealing with Iran. And again, we heard nothing. Everything in the Abraham Accords, which is vital for pushing back, this is being done by the Israelis and the Arabs with the president as kind of the bystander in chief. So I didn't take anything away from, and to me, the most egregious thing to say, well, I told them what I thought. And then he said, well, I told the Chinese what I thought. So tell me how many Uyghurs are better off today? How many slaves in China are better off today because Joe Biden got to say what he thought? And the answer is nobody. Nobody cares what Joe Biden says.
James, let me stay with you for a moment and ask you another question, because I thought this was also an interesting moment. He said that he is seeking to fill the vacuum that has allowed Russia and China to become more powerful in the Middle East and have more influence than the U.S. has. He said that's a vacuum that was left, and we're going to change that. What do you think?
There was a vacuum that was created by Joe Biden. President Trump was demonstrably pleasant in the region and was transformative with the Abraham Accords, with pushing Iran back into the box. Iran was terrified of Donald Trump because he killed Soleimani and because he was strong about what they were doing in Iraq. He was strong in Syria about containing Assad. The Russians were respecting what he did. Everybody respected Donald Trump in the region. If there is a vacuum, it's because on day one, Joe Biden walked in office and said, I care about climate change, I care about gender identity worldwide, and I care about doing as little as possible in Western Europe and the Middle East as I can get away with.
Yeah, we did hear some green energy initiatives that he said were one of the deliverables from these meetings. Joe, what was your reaction to what you just heard?
Well, I found it remarkable, Martha, that, as you noted before, the president went on to blame mom-and-pop gas stations here in the U.S. for price gouging, right? And he then characterizes a reporter's question as silly when she asked about the fist bump with the Crown Prince, which from an optics perspective looks like, for lack of a better word, silly, right? And I think the main thing that Americans wanted to hear from the president, besides we're going to try to be more energy independent here at home by renewing leases off the Gulf Coast in Alaska or extending the Keystone XL pipeline once again or drilling in Anwar, is that at least the Saudis and OPEC will increase supply to bring down prices. But the president says he expects them to do it, but doesn't seem to have anything resembling a tangible agreement with hard numbers in increasing that supply. He then went on to talk about 5G, green hydrogen and solar, and talked about a green energy transition. Again, it's profoundly tone deaf to be talking about green energy transitions when so many Americans are having so much difficulty paying for food and then paying to fill their tank in their cars to get that food or to get to work. So this is why 13% of the American voters now think the nation is on the right track, and the president's messaging is not helping, Martha.
Yeah, indeed. 10 seconds, James. You were nodding your head. Quick thought there?
Joe absolutely nailed it. Americans care about inflation, the border, runaway problems with the economy, and the president is talking about green transition, which doesn't address any of those concerns. So Joe's spot on. He is completely bypassing where Americans are focusing.
All right, we got to leave it there. And, you know, when you speak, you make clear what your priorities are. And that's what we saw. James, thank you. Joe, thank you. Great to be with you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.